Hi everyone, it's Heidi from HB Paper Crafts. Welcome to my regular Tuesday live. Today is Tuesday, June 30th. Hard to believe, but yes, we are already through June. Oh, I'm gonna have to mute myself here because now we can hear me in stereo. Who wants that? All right. So we are on and golden. Hi, Kate. So welcome to my regular Tuesday live. Tuesday, June 30th, officially the last day of June. Not sure where June went at this point. It just flew by. Summer's gonna go really quick and we're gonna get back to that white stuff soon. Boo. But thankfully we have had some rain with all this hot weather. It's been so crazy. I thought I'd take just a few minutes while everybody is finding me in their news feeds and just open my latest paper pumpkin. So this was that box of Sunshine paper pumpkin that I told you about. Of course, paper pumpkin is a monthly subscription kit from Stampin' Up. And I thought I'd take a minute to show you what it looked like. I haven't even broken this one out yet. So paper pumpkin, yes, a monthly subscription kit from Stampin' Up. And it's typically a project, either cards or a 3D project, all kinds of fun stuff. So this last month, for the month of June, was the box of Sunshine, inspired by our CEO, Sarah. She sort of put this one together based upon something she had seen. Hashtag sharing sunshine, where you just put everything yellow in a box basically and send someone a happy package. Could be yellow taffy, yellow hair things, yellow gum, you know, whatever you find, and literally sending them a box of sunshine. So this is inspired by her, and the project inside, oh look at that, it has a little description. A Sarah inspired paper pumpkin, here to help share sunshine. So it says once you've made all the cards, any leftover pieces, use any leftover pieces to decorate the box. Fill it with yellow goodies. Include the adhesive label and address it to someone to brighten their life with a little sunshine. So this was inspired by her. I thought it was super cute. It has some great stamps in there. The little sunshine, a little something to brighten your day. You are loved. Sending, smile, hello, sunshine, and just some little decorative lines. Cool. This one came with a basic black stamping spot, which is extremely rare in our paper pumpkins. As you know, you always get a stamping spot and a new set of stamps with your paper pumpkins. Last month was one of our new in colors, the Misty Moonlight, which was kind of fun. So even the paper is yellow this time. So let's check out this project here. Well, if I can get it out. Let's just pull out the paper, Heidi. Hello. Set this aside. So this is a little project kit. So as you can see, it has all kinds of different cards that you can make. This one is all note cards. Comes with the envelopes. And then again, it does contain a label to mail out the box if you wish to send out to someone. So it has the embellishments. It has, these are pop dots. Not pop dots, let's call them dimensionals, mini dimensionals in there to decorate with. So cool. Kinds of cute little card projects in this paper pumpkin. So I can't wait to put that one together. That will be lots of fun. So these paper pumpkin kits, they're great for traveling, they're great for camping. Gives you an all-inclusive little kit. Just have to throw some scissors in there and gives you something to do while you're traveling or camping. Something that you need to keep yourself busy if you're like me and cannot sit still without having something in your hands to do. All right, so I see a few of you have popped on. I'm going to go ahead and get started with this evening's projects. Tonight I have some cute projects with the Cute Fruit stamp set. So this stamp set may not be one that you see in the annual catalog. It is actually available in what we're calling our beginner brochure. So the beginner brochure is not just for beginners. It's sort of tailored toward the beginner stamper. Has some stamps at a lower price point. Has some better explanations of new stampings. There are some kits and just easier to work with stamps just for people getting started. The big catalog can sometimes be a little overwhelming, so they decided to come out with what they call this beginner brochure to help those just starting out not be quite so overwhelmed. So the Cute Fruit set is actually on page 7 of the beginner brochure. Let's see, it's item number 153301. It's a $16 stamp set. It is super fabulous. So there are a couple of different stamp sets in this. Of course, the Zany Zebras, they are in the annual catalog. I do have those as well. Can't wait to play with them and do a project with them. There's the Hooray to You birthday balloon. Hi, Angela. Hi, Sue. And then the Simply Citrus all-inclusive card kit, which is in the annual catalog. Back towards the front, I missed that 4-season floral. Just some neat floral images that coordinate with the Flowers for Every Season bundle that is in the annual catalog. These are not in the annual catalog. It's just a sort of an add-on set for beginners. So anyway, so we're using Cute Fruit. And we are going to make a couple of sweet projects here. We're going to start with this cute little gift here. Little pineapple gift. I couldn't ask for a sweeter friend. You open up this little gift ribbon, and inside there is a box of tropical Mike and Ike's. So it's got the pineapples, the bananas, the limes. I thought, oh, these are fitting for this cute little set. So this is just a cute little giveaway gift for someone to brighten their day. And now I will probably fight with this ribbon to get it back in there. So there are some little faces on this stamp set, and I have seen some really adorable things done. I mean, how cute is that guy? Little mustache to stick on a banana or a pineapple. Super cute. I did not use the faces in my projects today, but they would add something really cute to your projects. That's a lot of cute in one paragraph. Wow. Holy Christmas. All right, so let's get started. I am going to start with some pieces of Granny Apple Green. So I have a piece of Granny Apple Green that measures 2 3/4 by 6 3/4, and a piece of Granny Apple Green that measures 2 1/4 by 9 3/4. I have a piece of our watercolor paper that's 2 1/2 by 3 1/2, and then I just have a scrap of Whisper White and a scrap of Whisper White that measures 1/4 inch, and the length doesn't matter. We're just gonna, you want it to be at least probably 3 inches or so. All right, so I'm going to start with my piece of watercolor paper here. And I'm going to pull out just a scrap paper. So another fun product that I'm going to use is our new watercolor brushes. I am in love. They are amazing. So there's 3 different tips on our new watercolor brushes. And the favorite by far is going to be this big flat one here that we're going to use on these. Actually, we're going to use it on both projects tonight. So this big flat end watercolor pen. So basically what these are is you fill them with water, and you can use them with watercolor pencils. You could use them with inks. And I am going to use them with ink. So I'm going to go ahead, and this is my Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to smush it down a little bit. Oh, it looks like I need to smush it down just a little bit more. Hi, Marie. And I'm going to open it up. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to take some water from I'm just going to go ahead and paint my background with water here. You might have to squeeze your brush a little bit. You don't want to get too much, just a little bit to make the water sort of work with you. And then I'm just going to take this brush and I'm going to go over the background like so. So it looks like I need, there we go. I needed just a little bit more water here to get what I wanted. All right, so you don't want to go too hog wild, but we want some variation in the color. There. I'm going to close this up, and then we're going to let this dry for a second. While we do that, while that dries for a minute, I'm going to take my piece of Whisper White, the scrap piece of Whisper White. I used, no I didn't, just kidding. I used Daffodil Delight for the base of my pineapple. What's awesome about these is they come in pieces too, so that you can do like the top in one color, the bottom in another color. I love that about this set. All right, so Daffodil Delight, and then I'm going to take again the Granny Apple Green. Hi Kathy. Yeah, these brushes were on my want list too. I absolutely love them. All right, so I'm going to ink up the top of the pineapple here in the Granny Apple Green. And that's just going to rest right on the top of my pineapple there. And I should have stamped it the other way, but so give myself enough room to cut it out, but we're just going to let it happen. All right, so then we're going to take that and close it up because Heidi's going to make a mess. I'll check on the progress of my paper here. So the reason I wanted to let it dry just a little bit is because I'm going to get this brush good and wet. And you can see it's sort of just like a flat green background, just a watercolor background. But now that my brush is good and wet, I'm going to take and I'm going to tap it on the end of my finger like this. And that's going to pull away some of the color in the background. It's going to give you an even more variegated look. So it's going to give you the look like this in the background. So it just washes out some of your watercolor there. There are no dies for this stamp set. I almost said this damn stamp set. That was like a tongue twister. I was going to swear at y'all. There are no dies for this stamp set. No, this is a beginner stamp set, and I just chose to fussy cut them out. So I'm taking a beginner stamp set and making it a little more difficult. But you know me, I like this fussy cut. So I'm just going to cut around the pineapple here while my background dries. I got very southern there for a second too with the y'alls. I don't know where that came from. But this guy is pretty easy to cut out, to cut around. Has everybody been keeping cool in all this super warm weather we've been having? It's nice to have finally gotten some rain here in northern New Hampshire. We definitely needed it. My lawn was getting a little burnt. Alright, so there's my pineapple all cut out. I'm going to take a look at my background here. It's not completely dry, so we're going to give it another second. I am going to make sure my brush is good and clean, and I'm going to take that. That's going to be the worst part of getting this big guy back in the cap, making sure I don't mess it all up here. I'll take this piece away, and I'm going to pull out my 1/4 inch piece. Now, using a strip like this might be a little intimidating. You could use your, yeah, this guy. Why can I not think of words when I'm looking for them? Stamparatus, there we go. So you could use your Stamparatus. It makes it easy to line things up. I'm just going to wing it. This stamp is a photopolymer stamp set. So you can see through it. And when you first use your photopolymer, you want to make sure you give them a little rub on a piece of cardstock or a little rub on a piece of fabric, a dry cloth or something, just to make sure they're ready for ink. I know this particular stamp set, when I received it, was a little greasy, so if you tried to stamp with it right away without sort of rubbing off that greasiness, it wouldn't stamp well for you. Alright, so I couldn't ask for a sweeter friend, not too shabby. And I just sort of cut off one end at an angle, and I trimmed it down to where I wanted, just like that. I'm going to hit the center of this guy. Hi, Pam. Are you at camp? Is it your internet that's slow, or is it my internet? Are you having trouble seeing me? And I am going to stick this right across the bottom of my pineapple, and I put it sort of at an angle there. Alright, so back to this guy, my watercolor paper, which is pretty much dry. I'm going to take out my Granny Apple Green blend here, and I'm going to take the brush end. I'm not going to be too harsh with it, because you will, over time, if you do this a lot, you ruin the tip of your marker. But I'm just going to gently take the end, and I'm going to flick it onto my background. So it's just jazzing up the background a little bit. And because this is alcohol marker, it's going to dry really quickly. And then you just have sort of a flecked background with your watercolor there. Alright, so this is pretty much dry. I'm going to take my pineapple, and I'm going to take some dimensionals. And I want the big ones here. There we go. And the dimensionals on here. And this is just going to go down here, sort of at a little angle. Alright, so now we're going to set that aside and wait for us to finish up the box. So the box piece of our little project, we're going to bring back in those two pieces of the Granny Apple Green. So let's set these aside. Grab my scoreboard. So I'm going to use the 2 3/4 by 6 3/4 piece, and that's going to be the actual box that the little candy sits in. So on the short side of this, I'm going to score it at 3/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to rotate it to the long side. I'm going to again score it at 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to score it at 3 3/4, and at 6. And then I'm going to set this one aside. I'm going to take my long piece here, which is 2 1/4 by 9 3/4, and we're only scoring on the long side. So we're going to score it at 4 1/2 and at 5 1/4. And that's all we need to do there. Alright, so to complete this piece, I'm going to take out another piece. My other piece is all wet, so I'm going to take out another piece of scrap paper here. And in this set, there's a couple of little circles. So they make a really cute background. They're meant to be the outline of the citrus, so of the outline of the kiwi or the orange or lemon, however you choose to use this piece, but they actually stand alone. They're little circles. So I took the smallest circle, and that's what I'm going to do to make the background of my little box here, my little paper box. So I'm going to again take my Granny Apple Green. Oh, nice. Being away at camp will be nice and relaxing. I myself am quite ready for a vacation. I'm going to go and I'm going to stamp all around my background just randomly. This long weekend will be great. I'm sure everyone is ready for just a little downtime. All right, so there we go. So there's the background of my box using that little circle. And we're going to take my bone folder and we're going to burnish it on those 2 score lines that we made on this piece here. And then while we have it with nothing in it, I'm going to line those 2 pieces up at the top, like so. And I'm going to take just a little circle punch. This one just happens to be one that I have on hand. It's, what is it? 1/8 of an inch maybe? Just the smallest circle punch. The handheld one. Okay, now we're going to set that guy aside. We're going to move on to the box piece of our project. And you can see all the score lines here. I'm just going to cut up the bottom. So that 3/4 inch piece that we cut. And I'm going to do, as we usually do with 3D projects, I'm going to cut out these little notches to make putting it together easy. And we only need 2 of those little tabs, so this last one I'm actually just going to cut right off. Like that. So this is what your final inside box is going to look like. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to burnish all those pieces. That's a ruler, Heidi, you big silly. That wasn't going to work. And we'll burnish all of these. So basically this inside piece is just sort of a little pocket for the box, for the treats. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue it all together. The easiest way I usually find, falling things everywhere. The easiest way I usually find is to just lay it flat. I'm going to flip this piece, this end piece over, and I'm going to hit it with a little glue on the end. And then it's going to fold, and it's actually going to meet right here with that other flap on the other end, and it will fold flat. So then you have just this little opening like this. And now we can glue in. These 2 flaps can go down. And we're just going to glue this last one to the outside like this and make sure our box is square. Like so. Okay, now to finish it off, this guy is going to get glued to the inside here. And again, with 3D items, I choose to use the Tombow liquid glue. It's my favorite if you want things to stay together for your recipient. It's my favorite go-to. So once that's glued in, you could do one of 2 things. You could glue your sides up, which I did on my original. I glued the sides up so that they stayed together, but you can also just leave it open, which I thought maybe that would be easier for untying your box. It opens up and you can see your treat inside. So here's my little tropical Mike and Ike's. I'm going to take a piece of our, well, in theory I am. Where did I put it? Right here in front of my face. This is a piece of, this is a spool of our braided linen trim, which is still in the catalog there. And you just need a little piece. I'm just going to cut off, 6 inches or so, which is probably too much. I can already tell. But I'm just going to feed the fold. I'm going to fold it in half, and then I'm going to feed the folded end through the hole here. If I can get them to fit together. I'm fighting with it. All right, I lied. I'm going to feed the other 2 ends through, which is how I think I did it in the beginning. So I'm going to feed the cut ends through these holes here. All right, ribbon, I'm filming. Can you make this a little easier? It's never that way. And then, so you got them both through the hole like that. All I'm going to do is take this. I know it's much easier said than done, especially when you're filming something. And then I'm going to take this loop and I'm going to put those 2 pieces right through the loop here, and I'm going to pull it tight. So basically it's just holding it together. It's not really tied, it's just holding it together. And then I'll just go ahead and I'll trim these down a little bit. So I gave myself a little bit extra that I didn't need. And then to finish it off, I'm going to take my piece of watercolor paper, which is now all dry, and I'm going to use the liquid adhesive again. And I'm going to just hit the inside of that watercolor paper because it does extend a little bit beyond my box. So I wanted it to be a little bit wider just to stand out. And the watercolor paper takes a minute for things to adhere. It doesn't work just like the cardstock does. So we're going to give that a second to dry. And then last but not least, you can see these little gems that I added, which are amazing. I am in love with them. Those are the new, there they are, elegant faceted gems. So there are sort of clear faceted gems, the champagne-y looking ones, and then these that are frosted faceted gems. And these are the ones that I used. I'm just looking, I know I used champagne-y like it was an actual term, but I'm trying to remember if those had a color or not. But anyway, you'll find them in the catalog. They're in they're elegant faceted gems. So I used a couple of the frosted ones, and I'm just going to go ahead and use my tweezers. And if you don't like the sticky side of your embellishments and always having to open them, I go ahead and I slice mine lengthwise. So then all you have to do is you pull them out and you put them back in. You know, you don't have to deal with the flap there. I'm going to use the frosted ones, and I'm going to use a couple here and just decorate my little pineapple here, like so. Cute, cute. So there's our little project with the tropical Mike and Ike's and our little pineapple. Project number 1. Cute, cute. Or cute fruit, you know. See what I did there? Alright. Let me pick up my little mess here from my first project. And we can move right into project number 2. So again, I am in love with that clear petal pink and pearlescent white. There you go. I knew there was an actual name. Champagne is not a name, huh? Doesn't work that way. I love the pineapple too. It's so cute. Okay, so here's my second project. I used the watermelon this time in the stamp set, and we're going to use Your One in a Melon. So that's my little phrase on this card. So this is just a little fun fold card. Opens, little trifold here. So again, we're going to use those awesome watercolor paintbrushes, water brushes. There we go. All right, so let's pull out these. So I just have a scrap of Whisper White. I have a piece of Whisper White that measures 4 1/4 by 11. I have a piece, and I'm going to switch up the colors. So on this one, I use the Designer Series paper, and the one that I had on hand is the Regals. So this is our new Designer Series paper this year. And so for my first project, I used the Old Olive. I didn't like it. I'm not in love with it. So I decided I'm going to switch up the colors. Because I didn't have the Granny Apple Green Designer Series paper, I probably would use that if I had it, but I didn't have that one, so I was trying to switch up the color. So again, I'm going to switch up the color, and I'm going to use the Crushed Curry out of this Regals Designer Series paper pack, the 6x6 paper pack. And I'm going to change up the background of the watermelon background with a piece of Granny Apple Green. So my piece of Granny Apple Green is 3 1/4 by 5. I have a piece of Whisper White that's 3 by 4 3/4. And then I have 2 pieces of Designer Series paper that are 2 1/4 by 4. I also have one of these labels, shockingly, I know you'll all be shocked, out of the Stitch So Sweetly die set, which I adore and use, I think, in almost every video. It has those stitched rectangles, stitched scalloped rectangles, actually, and then all these dies here. So it's the largest of these shaped dies. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to use our card base. And I'm going to, again, pull out my scoreboard. You could do this on your paper trimmer as well. And I'm going to score each end at 2 3/4. So I'm going to go 2 3/4 here. And then I'm going to totally rotate it around, and I'm going to do 2 3/4 again. Just makes it easier. You have just one measurement you need to remember. 2 3/4 from each end. And that's going to give you this trifold card. So I'm going to go ahead and flip and burnish those score lines with my bone folder. And the other side as well. Hi, Debbie. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use this Designer Series paper. These polka dots, super cute. There's a lot of cute happening tonight. And I'm going to glue those down. So I'm still using the old adhesive. I still don't have a recommendation on our new adhesive. I don't know if anybody's bought any or not. The Stampin' Seal and the Stampin' Seal Plus. The Stampin' Seal Plus, they say, is amazing for 3D projects. They will be hard pressed to have me get rid of my liquid Tombow glue, though. That's sort of my favorite. And then this one is going to go on the top. Like that. So now we have our little trifold card. Alright, I'm going to set this guy aside, and I'm going to go with my piece of Whisper White. This is the piece that measures 3 by 4 3/4. I'm going to again get out a piece of scrap paper and my Granny Apple Green. And I'm going to smush it down, give myself, again, just a little bit of ink in the cover of the, not in the cover, in the base of the ink pad. And now I'm not going to wet my paper. I'm just going to take my paintbrush right to the ink. And I'm going to go right across. So I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to go right across my paper here. And I wanted to vary it and go each direction so that, a little bit more water here. Because you'll see it gets lighter to darker. So I did just want to vary it a little bit. So there you go. Simple, quick background. Now, I really liked and when you go to put this brush away, you want to make sure you don't jam it in there. I'm going to make sure it's good and clean, and then I'm going to push the bristles together a little bit so that they go in there and don't bend all up on you. Now, before I get rid of this, this dries really quickly. It's not the watercolor paper, and we didn't put a lot of water to it. So I'm just going to set this here. And I'm going to do, I didn't do it on my original, but I'm going to do, put it in a little flex like I did on my little pineapple guy. Because, why not? All right. Just going to do a couple like that. There we go. All right, so we'll pull in that piece of scrap paper, Whisper White. I'm going to take out my Melon Mambo. And then this is the inside piece of the watermelon. When you're stamping with these that have a lot of surface on them, you want to make sure you can actually look right through them and make sure they get a good connection with your paper so that you have a clear image. And this is the older ink pad. This My Melon Mambo is an older ink pad style. The newer ink pad, you don't get that splotchy color that you did on our old pads. Because of the new ink formulation, it's actually really great. Formula. You catch my drift. Alright, so Granny Apple Green. And then this is the rind of the watermelon here. And we're going to ink that up. And you can see right through it to line it up with your watermelon. But they're sort of meant to be a little fun and funky. So if it's not perfect, it's not a big deal. Alright, so there's our watermelon. And while we let those dry for a second, I'm going to take out my little tag from the Stitch So Sweetly and our basic black. This one says, "You're one in a melon." So funny. And it's just going to go in the corner. I'm going to pull it down. Hopefully I don't get my head in the way here. Just so I can make sure I get it on there semi-straight. Alright, so that's going to go just in the top corner of the tag. Then we're done with that. Alright, so this guy can get assembled. And actually, yeah, I'm going to leave it flat. So I flagged the ends of my first one. This one I'm going to just leave a square. And change in midstream. Alright, so that's going to go on there. Oh yeah, I already like that color combination better. And I'm going to go to my little watermelons. Yes, I love that the stamps are separate and that you can get the different colors. They're so fun. And even the banana, actually, there's a little banana in here. So the banana is one color, and the little stem for the banana you can do in brown or green or however you want to do it. They're really fun stamps. Alright, so I'm just going to cut. The watermelons are simple, easy peasy to cut out. And the other guy. Oh, I can hear the rain picking up again outside. Hopefully it gets it all out of its system before this long weekend. Alright, so there is that. So now we have our two watermelons. I did take the banana. Would be cute with a mustache. That would be funny. I have seen some projects with the faces done. I just didn't use them this time. So I just took a black pen because I thought my seeds needed to be black. You could certainly leave them white, but I opted to color them in. But it's just a little teardrop shape, so it's easy peasy to color those in. And this is just a black gel pen. You could use, of course, your black Stampin' Right marker. I do not have one handy, so we're just gonna go with this guy. All right, so there we go. There's that. All right, so my first melon, I went ahead and I adhered on like so. My second melon, I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to use some dimensionals again. Not that many. How about just 2? There we go. And I'm going to put them right down here just so I make sure I don't get it off the end of my label or die here shape. Alright, so there's my little melons. And then this background piece is going to get glued just to the top here. So again, I'm going to use my liquid glue, and I'm going to make sure I'm just gluing the top, because if you glued it all the way, you wouldn't be able to open your card. So let's glue here. Make sure it's straight. There we go. And my little melon is going to go right over here. And I'm actually going to use some dimensionals on that as well. And you do want to be cautious where you put your dimensionals, because this does overhang, or the way that I used it, it is going to overhang a little bit over here on this side. So I just put my dimensionals where it would not stick to my card. And I sort of off-centered it a little bit, like that. So there we go. Same card made 2 ways. Looks very different each way. Switch up the colors in the background, and you have a very different looking card. So there are my little projects using this cute fruit stamp set. Again, it's in the beginner catalog, or it's item number 153301. All kinds of great things are being done with this set. You could Google it and see what everybody's doing, but there are some really great ideas out with it. And it was one that spoke to me from the beginning when I went to place my initial order with the new catalog. And speaking of new catalog, there is another new catalog. So for demonstrators, the holiday, or the August to December mini catalog, launches tomorrow for demonstrators, July 1st, and it launches for customers August 4th. So there's all kinds of great Christmas stuff coming in that catalog. I've only had a couple of chances to just glance at it. I haven't really sat down with it yet, but there are some great stuff coming out there. So thank you guys all for coming out and watching these videos. I appreciate you coming out and spending time with me. I hope you enjoy these projects and that you recreate them. If you're watching on the replay, I thank you and appreciate you for coming out and watching as well. Hope you guys all have a wonderful evening. Happy stamping, everybody. Oh, and happy 4th of July. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.